Lord, I hope our hearts and our minds are truly echoing what we just spoke to you. That you are holy. There is none like you. Lord, may your words catch up with our hearts and our minds this morning. May your truth be what we walk away from today. And may your love and your faith and your hope be what we cling to even stronger than ever before. And may through our lives, may we show the world we're different. Not because of who we are, but because of who you are. It's in Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Well, good morning, church. Normally on a kids ministry Sunday, I get the privilege of being able to be out there with your kiddos, getting to celebrate, getting to teach the Word of God through activities and games, Bible story, a lot of interaction. I love building relationships with your kiddos alongside my wife who leads the kids ministry team. And today is an awesome day. They're having a water day. We're celebrating the end of summer. This will be the last Sunday that we'll get to be with them until school kicks back in. And it's also the last Sunday that some of our fifth graders will be with us. And I know they cannot wait to join this group right here. They cannot wait. So y'all got some incoming fifth graders. I know y'all do a great job of bringing them in and having them be a part. And they've got crossover in just a couple of weeks to look forward to. But today, in celebrating, we planned a water day. And then at the end of service, this is not just for all the kiddos. Obviously, they'll probably be hitting it first. And then parents, I'm sure you're going to want to be in there. Teens, you're going to be in there. If you don't have a kid or a teen, it doesn't matter. This is church-wide. It's available to all. We're going to have Kona Ice afterwards. So as the end of service, feel free. It's free to all. Go get you a nice big heaping bit of whatever you love. You know, whatever flavor it is, whatever good bit of sugar. I know Tiger's Blood's popular. I know we got some, coconut lovers, bubble gum, whatever it might be. Make sure you go and get some of that. And it's not just for the kids. So I want to let you know that ahead of time. And all the kids team wanted to make sure that you guys knew ahead of time. It's not just for the kids. It's for everybody. So please, take part and enjoy and join in the celebration for the kids and then those who will be moving on as well. But today I'm excited we get to launch a brand new series entitled Different. Okay, and this is going to be a study out of the book of 1 Peter. So if you've got a physical copy, if you've got a technology copy, if you've got our app, you can access it any which way possible. Okay, so I'd encourage you to go ahead and find 1 Peter. That's where we're going to be. And I also encourage you, through your hard copy Bible, through your technology Bible, any which way you love to access God's Word, I would challenge you, start a study on 1 Peter. It's going to be where we're going to be the next few weeks. You get a really good context and look into Peter's message, who he was talking to, what he was saying, and there's a lot of great messages there. And an overriding theme is we're to be different, okay? This is not our home, this is not where we're from, and we're supposed to live accordingly. And you might be like, Darren, what you talking about? I'm from Texas. I'm not some of these wackadoodle transfers that, come in and try to claim Texas, but they're really foreigners, No. We're talking about something completely different. Even though Peter, when he starts off in first chapter, first verse, he talks to a group of exiled Christians. These people were highly persecuted in the day, and they couldn't even be at home. What they would call as home. So they didn't have any comfort. They didn't have anything that was normal. You got different customs, maybe different foods. Everything is different, and they could have been really, really grouchy, really, really grumpy, really just hating life. Okay, not only are we getting persecuted, we don't have anything that we can hold on to and feel okay about the circumstances, something to feel normal, And Peter was like, hey, you're meant to be different. You're foreigners, okay? Now, I know you know these places well, right? You've traveled to them, you've been there, but we'll go ahead and list them here anyways. But he's talking about where they were, and it wasn't home. So there were foreigners in the provinces of Pontus, of Galatia, of Cappadocia, of Asia, and Bithynia, okay? So they weren't home. They weren't really loving life in any form or fashion, you could say. Okay, and so to maybe relate that, you could say, oh, okay, Darren, we're talking about people that are way over here. I have nothing to do with them. I'm at home. I'm not a foreigner. Well, let's draw us all in on this, and I'm going to give you a quick illustration, okay? How many have been driving, and even teens, have been driving and you've gone somewhere really far, and you want to get there as fast as possible? Anybody? Nobody here? Okay, all right. We got some hands. We got some participation. All right. Okay, now you want to go as fast as possible, right? As fast as we'll allow, plus maybe 5 or 10, right? So 70, 75, 80, 85, whatever we're going. Maybe start an auction here soon. But you want to get there as soon as possible, correct? And the last thing that you ever want to see when you're trying to go somewhere and go somewhere of great distance is construction. Because you're like, oh, great. We don't know how much longer it's going to take, but it's going to add time. And we're not going to get where we're going. And you got to slow down. And if you've been going at a high rate of speed for a long period of time, you're kind of used to it. And so you slow down to, even if you're going 30, 35, 40, you're like, oh my gosh, we are never going to get where we're trying to go. You feel like you're not even moving. And it's just going to take forever. But what about the road workers on the side of the road that we're trying to slow down for so we don't absolutely murder them flying by as they're trying to work on the roads, To them, they haven't been going anywhere. They're standing still. They're not moving at all. So we come zipping by them at a whole rate of 30 or 35. We don't feel like we're going anywhere. They feel like we're flying. So it's really all about a perspective on how you look at any given situation as to what your reality is. So Peter was saying, hey, your reality may really stink if you look at it one way. But let's look at it a different way. It's in your home anyways. You've got a heavenly home. You've got something to look forward to that has nothing to do with your current reality here. So you're going to have some things that really stink, some trials, some things that are really not going your way. You're persecuted, you're not home, nothing's good right now. Don't focus on that. That's not your reality. Your reality is to come. And I want to share a personal story, a story that many of you that even know our family very well may not know or know not that much details of. Like I mentioned before, my lovely wife is out in kids ministry. Her name's Valerie. I also have 3 sons: Callan, 16, Cade, 12, and Cooper, 10. And Cade, when he was born back in 2006, we were so excited for him to come. Couldn't wait. I was going to make Callan a big brother. He had all the cool big brother stuff, and Cade, he was typically developing, doing great. Growing up, he hit his 6-month milestones, everything's going well. And then he was born in April, so now we're up into Thanksgiving. So we're past some of those initial milestones. And he starts beginning to do something that Valerie knows, okay, something's wrong. Like, it's not just kind of wrong, it's really wrong. And all you ladies in the room, you know when something's up. Long before us husbands, us guys in the room, get our heads out of the sound and be like, okay, yeah, I guess maybe something's wrong. Rubbing dirt on it ain't gonna fix it kind of thing. But, she knew something was wrong. She was still teaching at the time. She's gone back to teaching the last couple of years. But she was teaching. Callan's young, only 4, and Cade's newborn. But every time she would nurse Cade, after a while, he started dropping his head. And she's like, what's going on? And we put him in those little round things, to play. They're supposed to be happy and playing. They had the bumbos. Anybody remember the bumbos? You put the kids in, supposed to, be a safe place. You could work on sitting up and all that kind of stuff. And then all of a sudden he just, he's literally like lose all control. Like he couldn't keep his head up, nothing. He just flopped, And then before long, come Thanksgiving, we're a family, and he's just kind of cruising along, trying to hold on to something. And then wham! He just literally almost knocked himself out on this round table at my grandparents' house, And so I'm like, okay, we're going into the doctor, And the doctor, we see the doctor there in Waco, and family doctor, man, love him, he's a great guy. And he says, you know what? This is something kids grow out of. I even had seizures. He even said himself, he had, seizures as a kid, and it's something that kind of comes, and it'll pass, and you'll get on the other side, and everything will be fine. Okay, all right. Well, here comes Christmas, and things are only getting worse. They're only getting worse. And so when he goes to nurse, then he has them more frequently, and they start going on top of each other. And they go on top of each other so much that by the time he's done, he's like passed out. So he literally goes from sleeping to now he wakes up, he's starving again, he's got to eat, and then he starts having them on top of each other again, and he's back asleep again. And he literally stopped all of the progressions and milestones of doing things as you get older, that you're working towards crawling, and then working towards standing up, and then he literally couldn't even hold his head up any longer. So we're like, okay, something is definitely wrong. My wife researching, and she finds online this is still called infantile spasms, and it's very, very bad. So we go back to the doctor, and they go, oh, no. There's no way he has epileptic spasms. He goes, that's really, really bad. I mean, this goes on to, severe disability, even death, and so he's like, okay, well, we'll admit it. We'll start doing every test imaginable, the MRIs, the CAT scans, everything they can do under the sun. And they're like, okay, they did finally see that, okay, there's some abnormal, electrical activity going on in the brain. There's something that is up, but we need to send you somewhere specialized in order to kind of really find out. The only problem with that was we were in Waco, and even with the awesome facilities they have there, they're going to send us to Cook's Children's, which is up in Fort Worth. Now the only problem is we're like in the beginning part of January, and they said they don't have anything until April at the earliest, maybe May. And Valerie's heart just sunk because she knew. She was like, if we wait that long, we may lose him. Because literally every day he couldn't function. He could function barely enough to maybe be awake long enough to eat. And then he's back out again. And they were just getting more and more intense, more and more closer together. And so we just pray. That's all we can do. Just pray, But at that time, it's really weird when things like that happen because we didn't think anything bad was going to happen. Even though something horrible was happening in the moment. We just knew it was going to work out. There was no reason why. Anybody from the outside looking in would be like, hey, aren't you freaking out? Or why aren't you freaking out? Or don't you feel like the walls are collapsing or caving in on you? We just kind of knew it was going to be okay. But there was nothing, no indication, no doctor, no appointment, no nothing that was going to say, okay, here we get here, things are going to be good. So, lo and behold, a few weeks pass. It's a Monday. I know it's the Martin Luther King Celebration Monday. I don't know the specific date, but we're in the beginning of 2007. And it's this horrible ice storm, super bad ice storm. And Cooks calls us and says, hey, we got a cancellation. Somebody like in town, so this is like, Texas-wide ice storm kind of thing. Somebody in town in Fort Worth can't make their appointment. So can you make it? And my wife's like, looks at me like, Darren, can we make it? I'm like, of course. This is like what God opened up. Like, he created an ice storm, and all we got to drive is from Waco to there, and bam. He's going to be fine. We're going to figure out what the deal is, and things are going to be good. And so we go to the neurologist. The first person that confirmed that my wife had done something good and wasn't telling her she was out of her ever-loving mind, and that she was just some, maybe hyper crazy woman that was getting online and trying to figure out what was going on that was wrong with her son. And he said, you work, and you're a mom, and you got 2 kids, and you figured this out? And she's like, yeah. And he's like, man, it's amazing. I mean, he couldn't have, he'd more praise on her, and it was such an awesome thing because in that moment you're like, okay, we're going to get on the other side. We know things are going to get better some way, somehow. They take him in there, they get all those electrodes all over his head, they wrap him up with a big old turban, and, at this point he's only, do the math, maybe 9 months old, right? But he's got to have a seizure. He doesn't have a seizure, we're going to learn nothing, right? Of course, when you need him to have one, nothing. They've got him in this little, incubator thing. They got all these cameras. They got all this technology, all this amazing stuff. Nothing. Middle of the night, they're like, okay, we've got to come change his diaper. Okay. He did not want to be fooled with. He did not want to be messed with. Change his diaper. Whoa! It loses his mind. It throws him into seizures. So they were able to record what was going on. The next day, he brings us in this room. It was amazing. He had technology everywhere, like all these screens and all this picture and all this data of what was going on in his brain. And the guy, brilliant, he's like, we have no idea why this is here. There's no precipitating thing. He has no growth. He has no something that we're going to have to address, that's surgery or treatment or this, that, or that. We have no reason why this is here. But it's here. He's like, we've got this best guess chance of giving you something that was a steroid. They call it liquid gold because of how expensive it was. It was a vial that big. We give you a diabetic needle syringe that you pull out like so many cc's. I think it was like 50 cc's. Every day, you're supposed to give them in one leg. Then, put a Band-Aid so you remember which leg. Go the next day, put a Band-Aid, switch. Every day for, I think it was a week. And then I think we cut it in half after a week. And then every other leg. And then from there, it was supposed to be just every other day. Go on for a month. Crazy thing was, after the first treatment, within a couple of days, never had another seizure. I mean, we had so many people praying all around the world. Friends of ours were missionaries, and we had church. So many people were praying for him. He never had another seizure. He began to start coming back to life and kind of started progressing in his milestones, starting to do things that are typically, developing 9, 10, 11, and 12 months and beyond. And even just a few years back, about 4 years back, we took him back and we thought, oh my gosh, man, we feel like horribly negligent parents if, they still got it going on, maybe in his sleep, he's not really showing it, and then, we're not doing anything about it, we're not helping him, this would be horrible. So we take him back, they do the whole thing again, and this one he actually remembered, and they're like, yeah, like there's electricity still going on right there in his left front temporal lobe. He's got all the things there to have seizures, he's just not having it. And they said they could come back still at any time, come back when he gets teenage years, when he's older in life, no clue. But we're like, well, there you go. That's just how God likes to work, They said there's no reason why they started it. There's no reason why they stopped. They just did. I mean, now that is the kind of faith that we want to kind of look at when trials come our way. We're supposed to be different. Now, we don't know how things are always going to work out, but our faith can prove to be genuine based on how much of God we allow in and how much he gets to come out through our actions. So if you're still in that 1 Peter chapter 1, go down a few verses and let's look at verse 6 and 7. We're supposed to be truly, truly glad when things aren't really great in our lives. When things are bad, when we're having trials, it says, be truly glad. There's wonderful joy ahead, even though you must endure trials for a little while. These trials will show that your faith is genuine. Okay, we're not talking about false and fake faith. When things are great, we got faith. When things are bad, everything's crumbling and we fall away. The opposite of genuine faith is false faith. Quite oftentimes, we can get caught up into that. And it's a serious, serious, dangerous poison, in our churches today. There's 3 different ones I kind of want to highlight and hit on. Is an inherited faith. And that's something, it doesn't matter if you're, in our kids ministry, our student ministry, adults on up. This is something that you can still be dealing with today, no matter your age. If you haven't made your faith your own, and you just grew up and said, my dad's this, or my mom's that, or, when I grew up, I grew up in West Texas, and a lot of people were Baptists, and so I'm a Baptist, like that meant something. I mean, it was supposed to mean something, but that just said that was the church you went to, really. We kind of really go away from that these days. I don't label, with religious terms or anything. I like to go with, I'm a Christ follower, I follow Christ. If you know anything about Jesus, okay, you know where people stand, A lot of times I heard, I'm Catholic. Like you'd go to try to share, I'm Catholic. I was like, what does that mean? You're just like, they think they're in front of the line, up there in heaven or something, that everything's good. That's it. Or I was baptized as a baby. I'm good. No, not really. That's just an inherited faith. Until you make your faith your own, and it's really your own. You know what you believe, and you know why you believe it. You might fall into the inherited faith category. Maybe something that you might need to be dealing with. Another one is a shallow faith. You came to faith. You know Jesus. Man, it was awesome. You were on fire. Everything, shot up real quick. You couldn't wait to just, storm the gates of hell with a water pistol. I mean, you were on fire. You would tell anybody and everybody about Christ. You were just so fired up. And then a little bit of trouble comes your way. Whoop! You shrink right back down. Something got a little hot, something got a little, burdensome, a little tough, and then your faith just totally went away. That's something that's really tough. Maybe you deal with a shallow faith. Another one is conditional faith. Man, things are going great. Things are great with my wife or my husband. Things are going with my kids. Man, they're doing great. This, that, and the other. Things are going great with my parents. Things are great at work. Things are fill in the blank. That you put some condition on your faith. And you're like, man, I'm in love with Jesus. I'm in love with God. Man, we're tight. Everything's great. I just came back from camp. I'm loving life. Things couldn't be better, right? Then boom, something hits you right in the face. Does your faith just fall away? Does it go away? Does it change? Is it conditional? When things are tough, are you kind of like, you just kind of clam up a little bit? Are you still as emboldened? Are you still on as fire for God? Are you still as strong in what you believe in? Or do you wither? Do you kind of let it come and go, hot and cold? Well, God gives us trials for a couple of reasons that we're going to touch on today. And one of them talks about how it reveals our faith. When tough times come our way, when trials come our way, when things don't go our way, when we're thrown in, with sickness we didn't ask for. It just came out of nowhere. We don't deserve it. That's not fair. When someone loses a job, they didn't ask for that, man. They're just providing for their family. They're taking care of people. There's people that depend on them. And that's not fair. There could be an estrangement of a family member. Somebody turns their back on their faith. There could be all kinds of trials that each and every one of us are dealing with right now, today. Or you just came out of one. Or guess what? If you're not in those two categories, get ready. You're about to go into a trial. We're always in the process of this. And the reason that God allows these things to happen, because some people would say, why would that happen to you? You love Jesus. Well, you can tell them that the reason these things happen to me, guess what? They happen to the best of the best in the Bible. They happen to the champions of our faith. Everything came Jesus' way, and he didn't sin. He didn't give up. So we could have a path. We could have a way to show our faith is genuine. It's real. It's not flippy-floppy. It's not hot and cold. It's not weak. It doesn't shrivel up. It's not, my parents believe in this, so I'm good. It's genuine, real faith. So let's go back to 1 Peter chapter 1, verse 7. And then we're also going to look into 8 and 9. We're also going to look at a couple other ones. We know Jesus had, an inner three of Peter, James, and John. So let's touch on those as well. So these trials, 1 Peter 1:7, we're going to show that our faith is genuine. Guess what? Peter, who wrote this, lived it. We know what happened to Peter. Jesus said, upon the statement of him saying who God was, Christ was going to build his church. And then, that much later, it gets hot. Aren't you one of those guys who was with Jesus? Nope. Hey, even the little girl says, you're with Jesus. Hey, you even sound like them. Those people we're talking about, Galileans or whatever. You're one of them. Oh, no. 3 times, boom. He did the very thing that God said was going to happen. That had to be the last thing he wanted to do. Guess what? In Luke chapter 22, 31 and 32, Jesus already told him. He already got him prepared. Because he said, Simon, Simon. He said his name twice. I don't think that was a coincidence. Satan has asked to sift you as wheat. Do any of you know that process? It's not an easy process. And he's talking about him as a person going to be sifted like wheat. He says, but I've prayed for you, Simon, that your faith may not fail. But get this. Look at the next words. He knew he was going to fail. Because the very next words he says, and when you have turned back. That means he knows he's going to turn away. He knows all of us. He knows we're all going to stumble. We're all going to fall. We're all going to fail. But guess what? He immediately already gave him something to do. He gave him a task to go strengthen your brothers. Already preparing him. So whatever you're going through, God's already preparing you. He's already been preparing you. He's already getting you ready. And whether you go through it victoriously, whether you stumble and fall, whether it's hit or miss, He's going to be waiting for you on the other side to put you right back in the game, put you right back to work in ministry work. He's going to have something for you constantly, because whatever you're going through is to make you stronger, to make you more like Him. So when people look at you, they don't see you. They don't see your problems. They see God in the midst of those problems. That's going to speak more than 1,000 sermons ever would. Because they're like, man, your life sucks right now. I mean, it's like you got hit. Pick the body part. You got hit right in the whatever you want to go with, okay? And you're not freaking out. You're not over in the corner crying. You're not throwing in the towel. You're not giving up. Why? Everything is falling in around you. But yet, you find joy. What? That makes no sense. And you're like, yeah, it doesn't. I should be freaking out right now. The only reason I'm not is blah, blah, blah. And you share your faith right there. This is why we have trials. This is why we have tough times. The next one, James. We talked about it. We got Peter, we got James. The next one I'll reference, and we won't even have a slide, but I know you know it, is John. We've got, consider it pure joy. Pure joy. Man, I don't know. I'm usually fired up about football, I'm fired up about a lot of things I get joyous about, fired up about my kids. But yes, he says, consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds. Because you know that testing of your faith produces perseverance. We all love perseverance. We love grit. We love people that got grit. They don't quit. They don't give up. They keep going. Well, the reason they got it, gone through some perseverance. They've gone through some tough times. They've gone through a lot of trials. Verse 4, let perseverance finish its work so that you may be mature, complete, lacking nothing. Now, I know those right here in the middle, they love that word mature. They're trying to get that mature adult card stamped. I know when I was their age, and I was always saying I'm trying to get my grown man card stamped. You know, everything I did, I wanted people to think, this guy knows what he's doing, he can handle his stuff, he's got it, right? Well, I know when we get older, we're still like that. Sometimes we're still wanting to prove ourselves, like, hey, we got it, we're competent, we got our grown, man or woman card here, Well, yeah, we like that. Sometimes we don't like the way we get there. We have to get there. It's those trials. We love that mature. We love that not lacking in anything. Sign me up. I would love to not be lacking in anything. God's like, okay, here you go. I'm going to give you this trial. I'm going to let Satan sift you like wheat. You're going to get, it's going to stink. It may flat out suck. But on the other side, you're going to be more like me. You're going to have those things where you're not lacking in anything. In the book of John, chapter 16, when he's addressing all the believers that come, it says, we know that in this world we're going to have trials. We're going to have tough times. We're going to have things that are really, really bad. But he says, take heart. Why? Y'all can finish it? Why? He's what? Overcome what? The world. He's overcome everything. Anything and everything. There's nothing bigger than God. So whatever you're dealing with, it don't matter. God's like, you see this? I got it. Or he can basically see this, I got it. It's nothing. Like what seems overwhelming and crushing us, it's nothing to God. He's got us, he's got it. And on the other side, we're closer to him. And that's our second point. Number one, trials reveal our faith. Number two, trials draw us closer to God. Everybody says, I want to be closer to God. I want to have a closer, relationship with God. Guess what? Welcome on some trials. Welcome on some tough times. Because guess what? When everything fails, when you're like, I ain't smart enough, I'm not, got enough money, I ain't got enough good looks, I ain't got enough personality, I ain't got whatever to get me over or beyond or through or whatever this is. When we try everything else right, what do? The first thing we should have done, go to God and say, God, what do I do? How do I get through this? How do I get over it, beyond it, around it, whatever? We go to God. We fall on our knees. We cry out to him. We sing awesome praises like when leading into this, message. That's when we're closer to God. But it comes so many times through those tough times. We love that top of the mountain. But usually, if you've ever gone hiking, what do you remember? You remember the climb. You remember the getting there. You maybe even remember the getting down. The top's great, but the process is so much more there for you. That's what God longs for you. So at the very end of 1 Peter chapter 1, 8 and 9, the last couple of verses, it says, you love God even though you have never seen him. Though you do not see him now, you trust him. And get this again, you rejoice with a glorious, inexpressible joy. Kind of sounds like a song we hear a lot or have sung ourselves. Straight out the word. Glorious, inexpressible joy. It doesn't make sense. But in 9, the reward for trusting him will be the salvation of your souls. That is the greatest reward, the greatest gift, the thing that we deserve the least. We got. What's amazing is our faith isn't based on what we see. Our faith is based on who God is. and based on who God is, gives us all of the ability to not crumble when life is crashing down on us. In closing, the world, the thing that Jesus has overcome, while we're in it, while we're foreigners, while we're not from here, with our perspective focused on heaven, we're going to have struggles. We're going to have opposition. We're going to have challenges. Things are flat out not going to go our way. We're going to cry foul. We're going to cry this ain't fair. We're going to want to pitch a fit. But there's a reason that we have those things. Because in this world, it's not our home. It's flat out not our home. So guess what? When you're faced with hate this week, when you're faced with hate, ugly things, bam, right in your face, turn back. Give it love. When you're faced with all those trials of any kind, I want you to find joy. And last of all, in the midst of whatever you're going through, whatever may be to come, I want you to rely on that strength that we talked about. That strength where God says, yeah, right about here, that's about how much I need. Got you right there. Rely on that strength that is not from us. We don't have to rely on ourselves. Rely on that strength that is so beyond anything that makes any kind of sense. God's like, I got this. I got you. Trust in Him. Let your faith be proven genuine. And preach more than 1,000 sermons by the way you live. May you join me in prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, we're grateful. We're grateful that you called us to be different. And the fact that you loved us so much that after time and time and time again of trying to get your message through, you're like, all right, I'll even give my son. Came to this earth, got made fun of, scorned, spit upon. All the people that thought they knew what was going on just dogged him left and right, lied on him. I mean, every possible worst thing you could think of happened to the Savior of the world that never faltered, never failed, never gave up on people, even those people that were hating on him the most. May we all come to a saving faith in the amazing Savior of Jesus. May we truly, truly trust Him through whatever comes our way, knowing that your whole desire and whole design for anything in our life is to draw us closer to you. And through our lives, draw other people to you as well, so that they in turn cannot see this world as their home, but they can join in and know that they're foreigners too, and they have an earthly home waiting for them. Thank you so much for your love, for your hope, and your faith. May you ever strengthen ours. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.